Welcome, everyone. It is my pleasure to welcome you tonight. My name is Carolyn Whiteman, and this is our OPA call. And OPA stands for Organic Products Associates. And it is the name that was given to our business organization by our visionary leaders, Mary and Gary Loomis. Because when I was first sponsored by them, their business was not yet quite master coordinator. And they had the vision to realize that in time, the business would grow so much beyond the connection with the name Loomis that they wanted to have an umbrella name for all of us. So the Loomis organization is Organic Products Associates, now includes some, I believe, 10 master coordinators. And I don't know what size volume of business. I think Rob Loomis, who's now the face of that business, is certainly one of the top 10 businesses in Shaklee. So we are very proud and honored to have that heritage, but many of us are cousins in the business and guests that we welcome. And so once a month we do a call like this, and I have the honor of hosting this week. So I am very excited about this call. I am very honored. Tonight we are going to focus on the Shaklee Pure Performance team. And we're going to focus on this not just with the idea of celebrating these magnificent athletes, but also talking about who they are and what they do is really important for all of us in our business. So I'd like to first of all start out by reminding us that Tokyo is coming up, the 2021 Summer Olympics, and they begin on July 23rd for the Olympics, and they begin on August 24th for the Paralympics. And you will hear that some of our Shaklee Pure Performance athletes are represented in both of these magnificent events. So I get to introduce my co-hosts and great friends and collaborators. First of all, Bill Roy. Bill is the Shaklee Pure Performance team manager. He himself is an Olympian. He is an Air Force Academy graduate, veteran, pilot, and as I say, all-around multi-talented, just an extraordinary human being. I consider him just a wonderful compadre and friend. He's the father of 5 girls, and I think a grandfather to, is it 21 that was just born, Bill?
20 even.
Number 20 grandchild. And so it is with great pleasure that I get to work with Bill, and you'll be hearing from him, and also with Chris Bartholomew. And Chris is our corporate representative. He is he's sort of our Pure Performance team coordinator. I don't know if that's an official title. He's the manager of sales for, I think, the Eastern region. But less important are those titles than the fact that he himself is certainly a world traveler, an athlete. He is a runner. Oh my gosh. It'll be any morning. Well, I just did my 20 miles. Let's see. I've done 1,500 miles this, I don't know, week or month or whatever it is. But Chris is just actually, he really walks the talk of being an athlete. And I think he's also a chef, because I've seen some pictures and I go, one time I'm going to expect that you invite me over, please, Chris. So
come on over anytime.
Great. Well, it is with great pleasure that I get to introduce them. And I would like for you both either to talk about the Saturday morning events which we have. They have been kind enough to invite me in as a sort of a co-host, but I don't know which of you started this idea, but it's brilliant, because every Saturday morning at 10 o'clock, we get an interview with one of these Olympians, and you will get to hear from it. So Bill, do you want to start with that, and Chris fill in a little about our Saturday events?
Sure. Well, you said it was a privilege. I am the one that's privileged today. I've been trying to get into this group for years. So thank you for having me. This is the premier group and team in all of Shaklee, I think. So such an honor to be here. Thank you so much. Looking forward to this whole session. Be absolutely wonderful. So yes, this Saturday morning call or calls that we have was actually the brainchild of Chris. And I think it started out as kind of like a motivation for the runners. So we were deep in the heart of COVID at that time, but there was a group of people who liked to go on runs Saturday morning. So he gathered them on a Zoom call and invited one of our peer performance team athletes to give him a little pep talk, and it grew from there. So that was over a year ago, well over a year ago. We've had over 50 athletes every Saturday, and they are fantastic. Chris is the host, and he allows Carolyn and I to pitch in. Chris, why don't you just take it from there?
Sure. Yeah. As Bill said, part of what I do is I found a Saturday running group just north of the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco, or close to San Francisco. And they met every Saturday morning, and it was something I looked forward to. And when that was cut off, I really was looking for a connection with people who are into, I wouldn't say necessarily sports, but into, you know, this health and movement and just being inspired together. And so Bill was gracious enough to humor a little project at the beginning to, you know, see if we could get a Saturday group together to have a kickoff for whatever anybody was deciding to do that given weekend. And it morphed into still just these incredible sessions where we have the opportunity. I don't know any other job in the world where you could have the privilege to interview an Olympic athlete every Saturday morning for over a year. And I come away from those calls every week thinking I'm the luckiest man in the world to work with these Olympic athletes and to collaborate with Bill and Carolyn, and to be associated with such incredible people who share values of health and wellness and prosperity every Saturday.
Well, it truly is a great example. Like you said, it's the most inspiring 30 minutes of the week. So I would like to show you something that Chris has put together.
So these are 4 of the athletes we've recently interviewed. And this is just a little bit of them participating in their sports. So you can kind of see them in action. And just even today when I was pulling this together, it was fun to see.
So cool.
It was really fun to watch the fencers because I didn't realize how much anticipation and buildup, and then they go in with the épée or the foil. Starting off with Courtney Mathewson, who we just spoke with last Saturday. How's that? Can you see that?
Yeah, you got the sound?
I think so. So let's give it a try.
Yeah.
We're good.
Good.
Courtney is a 2-time gold medalist. Just incredible. And I'll have to say, our interview with Tal is probably my favorite interview we've had. It's just incredible.
Awesome. And you know, those are sports that we don't necessarily, you know, appreciate or understand following. It's extraordinary to me. So thank you for doing that part of it, Chris. Okay, so let's talk about why these pure performance Olympians are important to us. Because even if we're grandparents or have a business where the most active thing that they do is garden, I say that the ability for us to connect with the pure performance Olympians is such a valuable and treasured asset for us. Now, why is that? well, what are the qualities that our customers want? When we think about our Shaklee customers, what are the qualities that they want? Well, there are three qualities that they look for. First of all, they need to trust. And they first of all need to trust us. And then what they are looking for is products that are safe and products that are proven. So how do we start with the trust and the connection? Well, that's the data that we access is worthless unless people do trust us. And so when we think about our Olympians, let's see, Chris, do you have these so I don't mess up the link? Maybe I'll let you do
the videos of these.
Yeah, yeah.
Give me a second, and will see what I can do.
Yeah, that'll work better. I started with Kelly's interview, and Kelly Hurley is a 4-time Olympic team medal member, and she won a bronze medal with her sister in London in 2012. She trained as an All-American at Notre Dame. She's been a Shaklee Pure Performance athlete for, well, Bill can say, not sure how long.
Since 2015.
Since 2015. So I can try this if you want, Chris, or you got them?
Okay, I've got it. It is streaming. I don't have it downloaded, so we can see how it goes. And
yep. And these are only a minute or so, but I just think you would appreciate these interviews.
Okay, it might be distorted. Let's see what happens.
Just last night, whenever I was thinking about how I did start with Shaklee, and I had to think back because I feel like I've been with Shaklee for a long time, and it took me a while to remember, but I was like, oh yeah, Eli's the one who came up to me and spoke to me about it, and he was this pentathlete. I used to go to the training center, the OTC, all the time to train, and Eli was a pentathlete, and so he like comes bounding up to me, and he starts talking about Shaklee, and he makes it sound so, he makes Shaklee sound so amazing. And so I was like, oh yeah, why wouldn't I join? Why wouldn't I join? It sounds great. Like, it sounds better than like, who wouldn't join? And so so my sister and I both like jumped on it and never looked back. I mean, Shaklee has been there at every turn, twist, it never like batting an eye. I'm just so thankful that Eli came bounding up to us that day and really sold Shaklee well. And he honestly didn't even sell it well enough, in my opinion. You guys have been like a family to us. It was I'm so happy that day happened and that I went to that training camp with the pentathletes, because who knows if it had happened otherwise. My sister and I basically live off of those Shaklee 180 bars. I mean, I eat one every morning, and so does she. And they go quick in this house, even though we order them by the buckets. They go quick in this house. And every trip that we go to, every World Cup that we travel to, we have a Shaklee like medicine bag, basically, and we stuff all the hydration stuff in there, and the chews, and all the bars in there. And so we always have to make sure that that's filled before every World Cup, because if we were to go into a World Cup without our Shaklee medicine bag, we would be very sad.
Isn't that great? So when we think about the value of the connection with our athletes, that's just one piece of it, and why it is that we can look to our athletes for the reasons that we get to appreciate our business. Let's reinforce the credibility. These are the things that the athletes have looked at when they come to Shaklee, and you hear it in these stories. What about being able to say to them, look, we've got astronauts and NASA that have been working with the Shaklee company since 1993. We've got the great picture of Mark Kelly, the astronaut, with a vitalizer up there in the space, International Space Station. 2 Nobel Prize winners, over 100 Olympians that have been involved with the Shaklee Pure Performance team. And Bill, I may not be quoting that exactly, but I'm thinking that of the ones that may have retired and that are currently there, is that number like really off base, or is that pretty close?
It's actually closer to 250 since I've been hanging around that have come through the program. We currently have 85 athletes.
Wow. Wow. So when you hear these stories, think about the fact that's 150 elite level athletes who have chosen. And guess what they've won? 146 Olympic medals, with, of course, the other credibility. If Shaklee were a country, they would be tied as 8th in the Olympics in medal production. I mean, that's just extraordinary. And of course, we get the benefit of our consumable products and our decades of repeat customers. So when we think about our pure performance athletes, and we think about the fact that what they want is products that they can trust and products that they know are safe. So let's talk about the fact that their products are safe. So this was a great quote from Karen Davies, where she says, as a competitive athlete at the world-class level, I was subject to 24/7, 365 drug testing. And I don't know if you realize what that means, that there's nothing they could be consuming that could potentially take them away from being competitively eligible. And so when we talk about safe, when we think about, well, one of my neighbors is asking, well, can I trust these products? We've got these Olympians whose entire career is being trusted for this. So when we talk about products that are safe, that fuel these extraordinary events, Bill, would you talk a little bit about this BSCG certification, which I just think is so stunningly impressive?
Absolutely. The BSCG is the Banned Substances Control Group. And so it's a third-party testing organization that tests our actual products by lot so that they can ensure that there are no banned substances. Of course, we know that there are none, but this is a tremendous affirmation for the athletes or for anyone to know that what is listed on the label is what will be in the product. And the testing standards of the BSCG exceed any other testing organization, so it gives our athletes tremendous confidence.
And look at that, 485 compounds that they test, 274 substances that are banned in sports, and they test so that none of those things are in there. And 211 additional substances that are not banned in sports, like different kinds of prescription drugs. And so when the athletes have the confidence to say, I will consume Shaklee products, this is a really big, huge deal. And this certification is pretty stunningly impressive. Is there anything I missed on that part, Bill or Chris?
I'll just add that maybe you touched on it or would touch on it. This is a big, big deal to the athletes because of this random drug testing. If an athlete were to test positive for any banned substance, that athlete would be subject to severe penalties, including banned from the sport for a year or more. And so none of them want to risk their careers on a product that they don't totally trust. And they've been inculcated, indoctrinated, preached at, coached at since they were just wee tots to go nowhere near any over-the-counter drugs or supplements because of the dangers that they could suggest. But for Shaklee, totally different story. And these athletes whose careers could be on the line trust the Shaklee products. That is just huge, 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 huge.
And so it's huge for us as business leaders, whether or not we're dealing with elite athletes. So Chris, how about can you pull up the interview with Courtney? I'll let you do it because you'll probably do it better than I did if you have a chance to.
Yes, just a moment and we'll get there.
Courtney was interviewed. She was with us last Saturday. And incidentally, all of these interviews are available on the Facebook page. Shaklee Pure Performance team or athletes, we'll come back to that slide, but she was with us last week, 2-time gold medalist.
became connected with Shaklee, I believe after or leading right up to 2012. So we were training in Colorado at the little training center there, and I think Eli came by and told us about just the products and the philosophy and what you guys stand for. And I remember having an interest right away. I thought, well, I wish I would have kind of found this maybe like 10 years ago. This could have been extremely helpful in my career then. There's so much uncertainty in what is being put into products. And as an athlete at an elite level, you have to be extremely, extremely careful, because one little trace of something could derail your whole entire career. You could get a positive test that could suspend you for a year. And that could be, with the timing, what if it was right when the Olympic team was announced, or what if it was world championships? And those are honestly risks that you can't take. You just can't take. So for a lot of us, we just wouldn't take anything. I mean, I was so careful about what I ingested, leading up to that point. So I was extremely thankful to have the opportunity to have this partnership and be able to fully 100% trust what I was putting in my body and never, ever have to worry about that, about a possible positive test. So from that point forward, all the way up until 2016, we were tested all the time, especially being someone who was older, being part of the 2012 gold medal team and then returning for 2016. I was tested all the time. Like, how is this old lady still hanging around here with, no positive tests? So at the Rio Games, I was tested. I was the only one on my team that was tested twice. And when we were actually at the games, I got tested after the first game, and I got tested after we won the gold medal. And I was the only one that got tested twice. And I thought, this is kind of weird, but it didn't matter to me because I knew that I didn't have anything to hide. I knew that I could trust it in all the products. And I think that is something that is super special that needs to be shared with elite athletes all over the world, not just within the United States, but everyone should have access to products that are phenomenal, not only for their body and for their mind, but also where they don't have to have that worry about possibly having, some negative tests that could ruin their career or their chances of making an Olympic team.
Awesome. Chris, Seth will be the next one, and then just so you know.
Thank you.
Just for comments, I mean, is this impressive to you guys? It's impressive to me. Every time I get to hear this, and you can see why it's so inspiring to be able to be with these athletes every Saturday and to hear their stories. And so in addition to the safety that we get to talk about from the banned substance control group and that certification and the stories, we get to back that up with the purity and the safety of the Shaklee products being beyond organic. So what is the third quality that our customers are looking for? They want to know that the products work, that they're proven. Well, we can prove them certainly with the landmark study, and we can talk about the values of the study done and the results and people who use the products 20, 30, 40 years and more, how they've had significantly better results. And we can talk about the science, we can talk about the percentages, lower drug usage and all of that sort of thing. We can talk about the validation of a Nobel Prize winner just saying, the Shaklee population is remarkably healthier than the general population, and that it's shown by the landmark study and by the telomere study. But guess what? We also have our Olympians, and it's so simple. We don't have to get into the science if we don't want to, because Shaklee has proven. We know the products have been proven. They have fueled extraordinary events. The first summit of Mount Everest without supplemental oxygen, gone up in space, the Olympians. And so when we talk about that the products really work, here's a great clip from Seth Kelsey, who was a 3-time Olympian. And he now lives in Vancouver, Washington, also an Air Force Academy graduate. He was the first U.S. athlete to win a world championship in fencing in 2010, 3-time Olympian. Here's from Seth.
I was super nervous to take anything, any supplement, even protein powder, because I just didn't know. I've been woken up at 6 in the morning more times than I can that I cared for to get drug tested, and I just didn't want to risk, my whole career. A single positive test, contains 20 years of hard work. And then, so as I researched Shaklee and the sort of the purity guarantees, I was like, I think this is the right decision for me.
Pretty impressive to just hear the comments directly from the athletes, I think. So let's talk about so this is our pure performance team. And as I said, those 146 Olympic medals just make it so simple to talk about. Do the products work? When we get to look at the Olympics, and I'm gonna ask Bill to talk about what we're looking forward to as we get into Tokyo. But when we look at the Olympics, I just saw a report from yesterday's swim trials. And yesterday's swim trials were the US team, the US swimmers competing for the slots on the Olympic team to represent the US in the Olympics. And I just saw a clip that said one of the swimmers, now listen to this, do the products work? Listen to this. This swimmer was in an event, I think it must have been, maybe it was either 1,500, 500, I don't know. That event was 4 minutes and 53 seconds, and that swimmer missed qualifying for the Olympic team by 12/100ths of a second. Is there a difference in being able to use products that work? Does it make a difference? Do those little tiny differences make a difference? I mean, that just is, to me, is so stunning. So Bill, would you say something? Let me just leave this up here for a minute. And Bill, would you say something about what we're looking forward to in the Olympics, who's there, who's coming up, what's happening? Would you say something about that?
Yeah, sure. But first, let me just tag on to that concept you mentioned a minute ago. One reason the Olympians are interested in Shaklee isn't just because of their purity. They certainly are looking for the effectiveness. They want a proven product. When you're at that level of competition and you're talking 12/100ths, did you say, of a second?
12/100ths
So we're
of a
talking
second.
like a space of that much when you're trying to hit the wall. So when you're talking just hair splitting differences, athletes at that level leave no stone unturned in terms of what they can do to improve their performance, recovery, sports psychology, training with the best equipment and the best coaches and the best mindsets, the best competitions, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so nutrition kind of comes right into the middle there, because the athletes understand that they can't have their best performances unless they're fueled by the best nutrition. And so, of course, they're looking for an effective supplement. And if Shaklee is a pure, safe supplement, they're going to look to that to see if they can get just that little bit of an edge. So that's really kind of the bottom line for the athletes, is there's something in my nutritional habits that can give me just that 11/100ths of a second more, or 13/100ths of a second more, just little tiny increments. And that's how it'll be. The Olympic Games is a matter of inches and milliseconds, and we have currently 25 athletes who will be going forward. Many of them are experienced. They've been there before, and they're likely to succeed. I'm especially looking forward to the softball players. We have 3 athletes on the softball team who are very, very strong. Will be seeded #1 in the games, we think. And so that's Valerie Ariotto and Kelsey Stewart and Ali Carta. Look for them. They'll be fantastic. They'll get a lot of screen time, a lot of airtime, I'm sure. But in a lot of the sports that we don't normally think of, as Carolyn mentioned, like kayaking and shooting and things like that, we'll see athletes who have poured their soul into their sport for most of their lives, and it's their shining moment, and it's their dream come true. So we're excited to watch them and also to appreciate a couple of things. One, aren't we all just inspired by great performances? I mean,
Just
is that tremendous? Number one. And number two, every Olympic Games for the last many decades has set the record for the largest peacetime event, peacetime gathering in history. And this year, unfortunately, there will be no foreign spectators allowed, so we won't break that record. And yet, with modern technology and streaming and broadcasting and so forth, we'll still have a way to bring the world together in a peacetime, inspiring environment. And don't we need that right now? I mean, isn't this the time when we need the Olympic Games? We need that inspiration. We need that vision and dream and everything that is great about it. And so I'm excited for that reason, and to cheer on our athletes, and to just think there is good in the world, and we're seeing it right there.
it's beautiful, Bill. Are there some of the other athletes that you'd like to mention? So the softball team, the three on the softball team, would you just like give an overview? And maybe we talked about maybe you're going to post these, or you're going to put these on the Facebook site.
I am going to put them, and let me just make a pitch for our Facebook page. So it is the Shaklee Pure Performance Team Facebook page. Pretty easy to remember, Shaklee Pure Performance Team. If you just type that in your search bar for Facebook, it'll come right up. And every single day, we have a spotlight on an athlete. Every single day, we just tell a little story. You all know the power of a story. So we tell a little story about the athletes, things they have to deal with or overcome, or successes, their journey, that type of thing. And I always try to include the direct endorsement or testimonial of a product, like I said, every single day. So if you want to just get a glimpse of those spotlights, just go there, or you can go to athletes.shaklee.com for the biographies of all the athletes. Just click on the thumbnail and you can see those. But certainly softball is one of them. I don't want to neglect or downplay any of the sports, because every dream is an important dream. But we have some judo athletes. Colton Brown from judo is expected to perform well. Now, we are a sponsor of USA Judo. We have a number of shooters. I was a shooter in the 1996 Olympic Games, so kind of a soft spot in my heart there. We have some tremendous athletes. So for instance, Lucas Kozaniski is a rifle shooter, expected to do very well. It's his second Olympic Games. We have Lexi Lagan, who is going into her first games as a pistol shooter. She's ranked in the top 3 in the world currently right now, and her training scores are at the world-class world record level. So that's pretty cool. We have 5 table tennis players, and they're not ranked highly in the world, but that's great to see them go and do that exciting sport, and on and on and on. So for the list of all the athletes, just follow that Facebook page. I'll post that starting right around July 13th, but you can get a glimpse of all those athletes, every single one of them, in the 25-day countdown to the Olympic Games. So starting at about the 29th of June, I will feature every one of those Olympians, and so you can check those out. And it's just exciting. Again, it's our appreciation of a dream. It's our appreciation of an individual who's trying so hard to do something great. And it's our appreciation of the good in the world, where every country can come together in fair competition and celebrate the successes of anyone and everyone.
Oh, that's really exciting, Bill. Thank you. Chris, are there some things you'd like to add? I've got a couple of other things, but are there things that you would like to add about what you've been able to make available by hosting the Saturday events and any other of these things?
Yes, we have, as Carolyn mentioned, we do live stream all of these events into the Shaklee Pure Performance Team Facebook page. So once again, please go and like that page, and you'll be notified whenever we go live in there, and you'll also see the events that we post. And also, I do have a YouTube channel where I try to put little clips so that they can be easier to share out if you want to email them to someone. So trying to think how I can share that, but So these little video clips that we have played are on that. So you're welcome to go and use any of those. And please hit me up through Facebook or anything if you do have questions or need a video clip or want to share information about the Peer Performance team. We have just such an incredible group of athletes that are really an extension and part of our Shaklee family. And that has become clear to me as we speak with them on Saturday mornings. And I really appreciate Bill and Carolyn. Carolyn is so great at expressing how they are an integral part of the community. And that just comes through, and you can really feel the appreciation and the recognition when we're all together. And that's just one of the great moments we have every Saturday. So please join us.
Carolyn, can I add one more thing?
Oh, totally, yes.
Sure. So those athletes are doing a great thing, and they're really focused on their sport, and they don't have much really of an awareness of a lot of other things going on when they get really, really focused here in the home stretch of the games. But I'll tell you one thing they do appreciate. They appreciate having people in their corner. I know I've been on that pad standing alone in the games. It is lonely and hard. And when you have a sense that there are friends and family, an entire company in your corner standing behind you, it makes a big difference. So everything that we do for them is much appreciated by them, including calls like this, Carolyn. And the other point that I would make is they're champions in their own right, win, lose, or draw, but they are aware, and we are aware, there are other champions out there. There are other gold medalists. Jan Hurley, Joyce Anderson, Ray Madoran, Carolyn Whiteman, David Swain, Karen Sullivan, Richard Petty, on and on and on. People on this call, people in this team are doing tremendous work out there. You're making a difference in the world. You are making an impact, and you're focusing on the right things in life. So we applaud you. If there were an Olympics for Shaklee people, you all would be on the starting line there, performing well and making a difference in life. So thank you all very much. Each and every one of you are an important part of this team, and we love you.
You're the best, Bill. Well, let me finish with just a couple of quick things. I'd like to just remind us of what I like to call our Young Entrepreneurs Project, if I can find it. And then we're going to have the clip from Tal at the end, Chris, because I think it's so good. Our Young Entrepreneurs Project, we refer to as for the young of age and for the young of heart. And here's what it is that we're doing. As Bill said, we partner with this global company with an impeccable 65+ year track record. We address the critical and timely needs of preventive health and of peak performance. We can offer legitimate and lasting incomes working from home. We provide comprehensive training for our qualified partners. And so as people learn more about our project, we invite you to help us pass along these options to people, to customers, to prospective business partners with whom these values can resonate. Because as Bill said, we do have a really important mission. And I'd like to finish just with, let me get back to, I'd like to finish with this, and then we're going to do the last clip, Chris. I'd like to just finish with remembering the philosophy behind our company and how Dr. Shaklee was so far ahead of his time, and how it's our time to make sure that we keep this mission going, remembering that our future will be exactly what we decide to make it. And so, as Bill said, in these challenging, changing times, we are choosing to be on the side of history that contributes to solutions as paradigm pioneers. And I firmly believe that our Shaklee Peer Performance Olympians are just a magnificent representation for us of why we do what we do, because our customers are looking for those three things. They want to trust something, they want products that are safe, and they want products that perform, that can be proven. Well, how better can we do that? By showing the examples of our Olympians. So, Chris, would you finish up with the clip from the last one from Tal?
Absolutely.
One thing that I think about quite frequently is that, I work with a lot of people that are very successful. And one thing that I've seen for people is that they tend to neglect their physical well-being. And being that I have a disability, I've always had to pay attention to it. And that's why I really like Shaklee, because I think regardless, I know people that are very well off financially, they're doing really, really well. They don't pay attention to their physical well-being. They don't eat well. They don't take vitamins. They don't do shakes in the morning. They don't hydrate. And then they end up getting very sick. If you look at the last 14 years of the average person in the United States, they're incapacitated for the last 14 years. So for me, what's really important, and what I think, regardless of anything we say, okay, I made some accomplishments, okay, fine. It's really important for people to look at, for their own health, because one, people have children, they want to be there for the children, and you don't want to be like, you want to try to be a little bit healthy so you can walk around, do certain things. I've had to do that because of my physical disability. I have to exercise, I have to do that stuff. I don't have a choice. But that, I think, is what's really important. And I would say for Shaklee, in my opinion, people can say what they want. That's the most important thing for Shaklee, is that it's an opportunity for people to stay healthy. And that's what we really want to be able to do. And you know that, Bill, as an Olympian. I mean, it's something that we kind of just stay with our entire lives. It's like, all right, most of us, we had our training, right? And then we continue it. So I would say, yeah, that's probably most important. I would say, if I had to say one thing to somebody, I would say, work, all my clients, anybody, just try to work on your physical wellness. Try to eat a little bit better. Try to take vitamins, because, it gets to a point where it's never too late, but, the more you wait, then, the more difficult it becomes to turn it around.
Pretty impressive, huh? Pretty impressive. So I'd like to, first of all, thank Bill and Chris for being here. Thank all of you for putting up with a little bit of technology that we wanted to do our best and put some of these clips together. But I'd like to, before we open it up and see if there are any questions or comments, just see, Chris, is there anything else that you would like to add? Oh, and we want to make sure we announce next Saturday too. Bill, you can do that in a minute. Chris, anything else you would like to add?
Just that, Shaklee has been part of my life in one way or another since I can, since before I can even remember, with my grandparents promoting health and wellness. And so it's really part of what makes me tick, I think, is, reaching for ways to improve health and wellness. And this opportunity I've had to be an employee of Shaklee and work with the Pure Performance team has just been the opportunity of a lifetime, and really thrilling to connect with them and also each of you. I really feel like I've found my tribe. So I just want to say thank you to everyone for your love and support, and for what you're doing in the world. It makes a difference for other people, but also just for me. I really appreciate it.
Well, thanks, Chris, and thanks for the brilliant idea of starting all of this and providing all the technology for all of us. It's a team I'm honored to be part of. Bill, I'd love to just have you, any thoughts from you, and perhaps to announce Saturday.
Thank you. I'll let's add my thanks to Chris's thanks, but most of you won't know that Carolyn, and you wouldn't be surprised by this, Carolyn, at the critical moment when decisions were being made, stepped in and kept our team going. So all of the athletes have a personal debt of gratitude to Carolyn for all that she's able to do in this company. She's a tremendous leader for all of you, and she's built a great team. So again, thank you to each and every one of you for the difference that you make. If you would like a little inspiration, just look right there on your screen to her and other great leaders, Ray Madorn and others, certainly Rob Loomis. They're out there and they're there to help you. If you want a little bit of a jolt of inspiration, come join us on Saturday. So that's this coming Saturday, June 19th. 10 a.m. is the Eastern time. Again, you can go to the Shaklee Pure Performance Team Facebook page, or you can find a link there that Chris can send you. Our guest will be none other than Eli Brimmer, who the Career Performance team is kind of his brainchild. He had the vision for it, and he's been supported well through these years. So he can talk about every aspect of the team, the history of the team, the way forward, the athletes, health and fitness, and maybe even some advice to help you in your business. Great conversationalist, a warm gentleman who truly does want to help you succeed. So come join us then. It'll be great. And again, thank you all so much.
Thank you guys so much. You know, with that introduction to Eli, I think maybe I'll come back to this just for a second and talk about the power of the story. And I'm going to see if this comes through. Hang on a second. I'd like to talk about the power of the story because we're all the connections that we all have. The impact of the story is I started my business in California 100 years ago. And I moved to Florida. And in the process of moving to Florida, by telling a story, telling someone else, someone word of mouth, that story ended up in Colorado. It ended up in Colorado Springs. And in Colorado Springs, one of our business team's teenage daughter had a friend named Eli Brimmer. And Eli, when he was training as a teenage athlete, was looking for some nutritional, he had some issues for his training. He got the introduction through one of our business teams and was introduced to Shaklee. Through that, he then went on to be obviously an Olympian, went on Air Force Academy, world-class athlete as a pentathlete, which incidentally is 5 different sports. And so he went on as an athlete, but he carried the love of Shaklee. But let's take that a little further because his personal story, this is his wife, Cammie, and with their son, Struthers, when he was just like a year old. And Struthers was born weighing 1 pound. And he spent over 5 years on oxygen. And remember, they live in Colorado, you know, at altitude. He spent 5 years on oxygen. And they together really attribute the Shaklee connection and the products and the value of everything that Shaklee has provided to allowing Struthers to really be able to grow up and thrive. And here's Struthers now playing golf, skiing, no oxygen, and being just this feisty 6-year-old kid. So if you think that maybe the Shaklee connection is kind of like casual, I think when you talk to Eli and Cammie, you know that the Shaklee business has just been a really important part of their lives. And so as a result of that story, that's how we end up with his vision, their connection with the Shaklee Pure Performance team, creation of it, the Olympic Training Center, and all of this. And so it's really just a wonderful story to be able to add. So thanks to all of you. Thanks especially to Bill and Chris. Are there any comments or questions? Anybody want to just say, hey, is everyone going to put on your list to be there on Saturdays and continue to connect with this? And can you see how this can apply to us in our business just to validate who we are and what we offer? Any comments?
I have a question for Bill.
Oh,
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think this is most appropriate for you, Bill. It used to be that within a couple of weeks before the Olympics and even a couple of weeks after the Olympics, we had to not mention any association with any of the people who were competing in any social media post or anything like that. Is that still a rule? What is the rule these days?
Great question. That goes to what they call IOC, International Olympic Committee Rule 40. And Rule 40 was established to protect the major Olympic sponsors, companies like Toyota or MasterCard or, you know, et cetera, those large companies. They put a lot of money into the International Olympic Committee. The committee helps support other countries' Olympic teams through those funds and so forth. So the rule was to protect that advertising space during the Olympic time from other companies like Shaklee coming in and trying to steal some of that market share during that critical period. However, in the past couple of years, athletes have said, Shaklee athletes even have said, wait a minute, this is the highlight of our public exposure. Can't we do some advertising to gain a little bit of monetary gain, or some publicity that will help us in the future? And so this was a long drawn out fight, and the International Olympic Committee said, yeah, you can do some of that to a limited degree, but we still want to protect some of the marketing space of our huge sponsors. So they have now made an amendment to Rule 40, which allows Shaklee corporate to give good luck posts and congratulation posts. They can only feature one athlete per post. They cannot mention any products. They cannot show any Olympic venues, like a shooter can't be shown on a shooting range, can't show any Olympic marks like Olympic rings or flames and so forth. And so it's just very generic, but it is a way for the athletes to say, hey, thank you, Shaklee family, for helping my dreams come true. And then for Shaklee to say, congratulations, Lucas Kozaniski, on your great performance, and those types of things. So we'll have the ability to have some exposure for those athletes, and that's tremendous. So you as business owners, independent business owners, will be able to see those posts, and you can share those posts, but you should not make editorial comments such as, hey, this athlete is a Shaklee athlete and performed well because of the Shaklee products that he or she takes and things like that. So it's just very generic during that period. And that period is the 13th of July through the 10th of August. So during that time, very generic, you can repost and so forth, but don't add anything that would impose upon that marketing space that is reserved for major Olympic sponsors.
Super, thank you. It's the people we want to celebrate anyway. So that's great.
That's correct, and you can and you should do that.
Good question, David.
Yeah, great. Incidentally, when I was telling the story, I didn't finish the other piece, which is that as a result of those connections, Eli, his family, and all the Shaklee Pure Performance athletes are part of OPA down in the Madoran organization. And so they are part of our Shaklee family as a result of that. So overlooked telling that, it's kind of fun, including Bill. We get to include Bill.
It's fun.
And we're all grateful for that. That's a tremendous organization.
Well, they're also part of the Whiteman organization, because the Madoran organization is part of the Whiteman organization. So, hey, this was great, you guys. This is was really a great presentation tonight and everything. And please, if you haven't been on the Saturday calls, please do that. It will be a highlight of your week. I guarantee you that we get a chance to see some of our Olympic athletes and get to know them personally. And I can tell you, they mean a lot to all of us too, because I don't think Barb and I have ever done a presentation where we haven't mentioned our Olympic athletes and how important they are to the whole process of what we do. So please be there on Saturday morning. You won't be disappointed.
And Bill, is there, and I think in the past, was there a way that Shaklee people could kind of send notes to connect with, be a cheerleader? Didn't we do something like that in the past?
We sure did, and great question. Yeah, at some soon point, we're going to open up a special email account through Shaklee, in which you can write a personalized or even a general note of encouragement to the athletes. So you can say, "Dear Lucas, good luck," or "Dear Shaklee athletes," and we'll announce this, and we'll collect all of those emails for the 2018 Winter Olympic Games, the last games. We sent over 2,000 pieces of mail, like hard copy paper letters, to the athletes there in the Olympic Village in Pyeongchang, Korea. And it was great. So we're going to do that again, and we'll announce that and open it up to anyone who wants to write a letter to one athlete or all athletes or whatever you feel good about.
That's great. And we have 2 Shaklee Pure Performance athletes that will be part of the NBC broadcasting crew also. So Eli will be broadcasting for the pentathletes. Rowdy Gaines will be broadcasting and announcing for the swimmers. He's currently broadcasting also for U.S. trials, which are going on this week, which is on NBC. So those are Shaklee Pure Performance athletes that we get to claim and are part of our family. So I don't know
Mary
about you,
Whipple
but
Murray, the
oh,
gold
right,
three-time
right.
medalist in rowing, two-time gold medalist, will also be a commentator there. And for those of you who wish to follow the Olympics, you can go to NBCOlympics.com, I believe, and there's several other ways that you can reach that. And they show all the sports in streaming, and including ours, so you can hear Eli, hear Rowdy, hear Mary, as they call those sports.
That's great. So thank you all for your patience with the technology. We wanted to put this together. Hopefully, maybe Scott can edit some of the glitches for us, and you can take advantage of using any of this when the replay is available. opastuff.org. Scott will, in his brilliance, will have this available for us shortly. And thanks very much to Bill and Chris. Couldn't do this without you guys. And are you guys, do you kind of get, I mean, would you just like unmute, and do you get the sense of how this is really such a wonderful asset for us, for Shaklee? I don't know about you, but I'm excited about it. Anybody else?
I am, Karen. It's very exciting. It's wonderful. And you did a wonderful job, everybody. Thank you. Thank you, Chris and Bill and Carolyn.
Oh, thanks
Okay.
to all of you. Thanks for, go have a powerful week, and we'll look forward to seeing you on Saturday.
Okay.
We'll be there.
Good night, everybody. Thank
Good
you so
night,
much.
Everybody.
Thanks,
Thank
everybody.
Thank you.
Great
Bye.
job.
Take care.
Great job.
Good night.
It was wonderful. Yay.
Great.
Thank
Thank
you,
you, Linda.
Linda.
Wonderful. Thank you.